So first of all, I want to say thank you, everybody, for coming here today. This is an exciting day, a long time in the making here in San Francisco. I want to thank the mayor for being here and his support, to my colleague, Supervisor Ronen, Assessor Recorder Carmen Chu, and all of the folks that are here in the room, to the commissioners that are here. Thank you very much. The equal rights for women and in terms of pay parity is a huge issue in our country. And as we sit here in San Francisco and we view ourselves as the progressive bastion of the world, we unfortunately have in Washington, D.C. right now, the Republicans in Congress and our president who are diminishing and are trampling on civil rights across every single spectrum, and women's rights as part of that. And we see day in and day out from the headlines from Washington, D.C. And so I think it's so incumbent that we as a local government, we here in San Francisco, as representatives of this great city, take the step forward, make sure that we are on the forefront to push for the most progressive legislation that we can. And so we're so proud to be here today. And as I was mentioning earlier, it is shocking to me that here in San Francisco, we still have a gender wage gap. The fact that women in San Francisco in 2017 still only make 84 cents on the dollar, to me is a shame, and we need to do everything we can to remedy that. And as we see from the stats, it's even worse for minorities. For African American women, it's 60 cents on the dollar, and for Latino women, it's 55 cents on the dollar. This has to stop. And so this pay parity legislation is a huge step forward here in San Francisco. It is the product of work from groups like equal rights advocates, from national organizations. And I do want to give a special thanks to Margot and Kanishka from my office, who worked incredibly hard, to amazing women who helped push this legislation forward, and proud that this legislation was supported unanimously at the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. I think it says something about what we're doing here today. I think it says something about who we are as San Francisco, and hopefully as a shining light for the rest of our country. So with that, again, thank you everybody for coming here today, and want to introduce a huge supporter, our great Mayor, Ed Lee.
Well, thank you. I'm going to be brief because we need to get to equity right away. And I want to thank Supervisor Farrell for his leadership in leading this effort, but also Supervisor Ronen and all the other supervisors who joined our assessor, who heard the research that's being done at ERA, another bolthead, by the way, Jessica, but also have followed the traditional leadership that our commission and our department on the status of women have advocated. And I wanted to make sure that my own house was paying equally. And so we did a little research already, and I just want to guarantee you the mayor's office is at pay equity right now, Supervisor. So we need, and here's the thing about it is that we're at a cutting edge of helping women catch up. I mean, this is actually a sorry thing to have to say that we are behind 84 cents on the dollar for women. That is not a good thing. And so we have to catch up. And I want to thank the business community, the Chamber of Commerce and the business community for embracing this, because they want to happen as they promote more women CEOs in our ranks. We want to make sure that all the women in the ranks, management, when they do earn the ability, and I even looked at the wording that we had that it's that women are not, they shouldn't be earning pay, they should actually be getting it. They've already earned it, they just weren't getting it. And so hopefully maybe even changing the way my notes were written to say that women should earn that. They've already earned it, they just weren't equally paid for that work. And so this is personal to me as being, having an active wife, but also two daughters who I want for them to fully earn and fully get what they're earning, and to make sure that all women catch up, that the state, ultimately it means over billions of dollars that women are not getting even though they've earned it. And so we're glad to take the step forward. And again, I want to thank the supervisors for uniting on this so that we could show the way for everybody else, that you shouldn't have a study about how much it costs you to do this. You should do the right thing and get it done so that people can get what they're supposed to have earned already. I'll be very happy to sign this legislation and get people equity right away. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Lee. A few things as well. Mayor Lee mentioned the business community. I want to thank all the folks that came together, a number of organizations as well. I want to specifically point out Lyft, who is here today, a San Francisco-based employer who is at the forefront sending in letters of support for this legislation. And it shows that we can work together as a community, as advocates, as our business community, as our city government here in San Francisco. So a real shining example. So thank you for being here today. And you know, Mayor Lee alluded to it. He has 2 daughters, I have 1 daughter. And as I thought about it as well, I want my daughter to grow up in San Francisco and in a community where we equally pay our women as well. It is so important. It takes on such a special, different meaning as a parent. And it's something why it means, as a man, I am so proud to stand here. As a man, I am so proud to push forward this legislation because this affects all of us. This says something about who we are as a society, and it says something, again, who we are in San Francisco. I was very lucky at the Board of Supervisors to not only have ultimately unanimous support, but a number of people who came on very early on to support this legislation. We do now, as a Board of Supervisors, have a majority women, which has been great to see. Absolutely, a round of applause for that. And one of the early supporters is here with me. I'm very proud to have her here with me. And again, was one of the leading charges of this during the legislative process. So I want to thank and bring up Supervisor Hillary Ronen.
Thank you so much. What an exciting day. And I just really want to thank Supervisor Farrell for this leadership. You know, as we've alluded to, on a federal level, we're moving backwards on women's rights. And to take a leap forward today here in San Francisco is extraordinary and something that we should be celebrating. And the reason that I was so excited when Supervisor Farrell and his incredible staff brought forward this legislation is because it is so meaningful. It is groundbreaking legislation that will change the course of centuries of discrimination against women. It literally says to employers today, you are not allowed to use a system that promoted centuries of discrimination against women by paying them less for equal work in terms of your decision about what you're going to pay us today. And that is the type of meaningful, real legislation that I am so proud to be part of on the Board of Supervisors to support, and that changes our lives and that makes our society and our world and our city and our communities stronger and better. So let's celebrate today this advancement for women's equality in San Francisco. And again, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for this incredible ceremony and for signing this, and Supervisor Farrell for your leadership. This is really exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you, Hillary. And as I mentioned before, this legislation would not be possible without the work of a lot of organizations, advocacy groups, so many women's rights groups that we are proud to have here in San Francisco. And I want to bring up Jessica Stendler from Equal Rights Advocates, an organization that has been pushing at the forefront of these issues, who's done just amazing work. And hopefully this is, as we talked about, the beginning of a great working relationship to continue to push our city forward. So I want to bring up Jessica.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today and to speak alongside Mayor Lee, Supervisor Farrell, Supervisor Ronen, and Assessor Chu. I want to thank Supervisor Farrell for introducing this legislation, his excellent staff, Kanishka and Margot, and the full Board of Supervisors who voted unanimously to pass this important legislation. My name is Jessica Stender, and I'm an attorney at Equal Rights Advocates based here in San Francisco. Our mission is to protect and expand economic opportunities for women and girls. We work to eliminate barriers to equal pay, and today we celebrate a milestone in that fight. Although equal pay laws have been on the books for decades now, women continue to earn less than men in virtually every industry and sector. This wage gap is even worse for women of color. In California alone, wage disparities result in billions of dollars of lost income for women every year. But this also harms children, families, and communities as a whole. Research shows that women earn less than men starting just 1 year out of college, even when controlling for factors such as major, occupation, and hours worked. The same holds true for female graduates of business school who start at lower salaries than men with MBAs, despite having similar career paths, performance, and education. Women who begin their careers earning lower salaries continue to earn less throughout the course of their careers when employers set pay based on prior salary. This law will thus disrupt the perpetuation of past wage inequalities and marks an important step forward in closing the gender wage gap in this city. Today, San Francisco continues its proud tradition of leadership in the fight for equality under the law, and I'm very excited to be part of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jessica. And now last and certainly not least, before we get to the signing here itself, I want to bring up a great friend, a former colleague, and I believe the highest ranking woman elected official here in the city of San Francisco, our assessor recorder. Highest paid, maybe, hopefully. We'll look into that. Carmen Chu, everybody. I like that comment.
Good morning. My name is Carmen Chu. I serve as San Francisco's elected assessor. I'm honored to be here today. So I was thinking back in, I come from a family where we have 3 girls. No boys in our family, just 3 girls. And so when I grew up, when my dad was out in the backyard mixing concrete and pouring things in the backyard, all of us girls all helped out. There was no distinction. My dad didn't say, you're not a boy, so don't come out here and help me. It was the expectation that the things that he could do, the things that boys could do, we could do too. So imagine my surprise as an adult when I realized that we still don't get paid for doing the same amount of work. I am very proud today as a San Franciscan to stand here, to be here, so that we can take this one step forward so that we have stronger laws protecting our women. It's a big step, and I want to congratulate Supervisor Farrell for taking the lead on this, for really being a champion, for Mayor Lee for supporting it, to the Board of Supervisors and all of our community organizations who support this great cause. We still have a long ways to go. So the one thing that I hope we will all do in all of our respective lives, whether it's private industry, nonprofit, government, that we all take personal responsibility for making sure we are looking at those wage gaps. We are helping to build that equity. So congratulations again, and thank you so much for coming out here.
All right, with that, ready to get the signing on? All right, let's get it done.
Ready?
Ready? Faster.
Yeah, stop delaying there.
All right, I got to do this the right way. There you go. Let's get equity involved.